Please welcome to the stage, Portia Cina.
Hello. Okay, so my name is Portia Cina, and I want to start with a quick exercise if everyone will humor me for a moment. Please close your eyes. I want you to picture the best version of yourself, the most loving, confident, beautiful, kind version you can imagine. Picture them so clearly that it's almost like they're standing right in front of you. Think about how they carry themselves, how they speak, how they treat other people, how they move throughout the world. You can open your eyes. I've been doing this exercise for as long as I can remember. When I was younger, I would constantly think about the person that I wanted to become. I would picture her so clearly in my head. She had long blonde hair, she had nice lashes, she had charisma, she had confidence. And whenever things felt difficult, I would think about her. It sort of became an escape. I would tell myself, things are hard right now, but if it leads to her, then it'll all be worth it. Everything I do in my life is for my future self. And I think that most of us are doing that in some way, whether we realize it or not. So, for those who don't know me, hello, my name is Portia Cina. I have confetti ichthyosis. I am 18 years old, not for long though, July 16th, 19. I am from New Jersey, and I live with my two parents, Sean and Jolie Cina, and my 15-year-old brother, Miles. I am a college student at Savannah College of Art and Design. I have an unhealthy obsession with buying clothes, and I love all things creative, whether it's art, music, or makeup, or fashion. When I first got the email asking me to be the keynote speaker for this conference, I hesitated. And even after I said yes, I wasn't completely sure I was up to the task. Because when I think of a keynote speaker, I kind of think of a very specific story arc, like difficult childhood, then one day they learn to love themselves and they're completely confident, and then they live happily ever after, the end. The reason I wasn't sure I should be the person standing up here today is because, honestly, I'm not fully happy with myself yet. No, please don't be shocked or clutch your pearls. I hope that isn't a shocking thing to say as a keynote speaker, but I thought that I should be honest with all of you. There are still things that I want to improve. There are still insecurities that I've had. And if I'm being 100% honest, I haven't fully accepted my skin. It's almost like it's just there. It's not really a part of me. I'm Portia, but I just happen to have ichthyosis. But then again, I'm willing to bet that every single person in this room feels that way sometimes. That's why growth exists. We're not supposed to be finished. We change over time so that years from now we can look back and see how far we've come. And then I remembered why I submitted a video to be the keynote speaker in the first place. I think our community needs younger voices. No offense to any unks in the audience, but I think that there is value from someone who is still actively becoming the person that they want to be. Someone who doesn't have all the answers or who's still figuring things out. Because being a young woman with a physical difference today comes with its own unique challenges. But despite that, I've accomplished things that younger me would have never even imagined. I've built a following on TikTok, I've been interviewed by People magazine, I've appeared on TLC, I have amazing hair and an overindulgent fashion sense, and I've gotten opportunities I would have never imagined for myself. And none of these things would have made sense to 5-year-old me. If you compared 5-year-old Portia to 18-year-old Portia, the difference would be shocking. I want to take you back for a second. And can I get a raise of hands for this question? Who here has been asked, when did you realize you were different? Well, the truth is, for me, I don't know. I don't think there was ever one specific moment. I think I've kind of just always known. And even before I could fully understand it, I knew I wasn't being treated quite the same way that everyone else was. I've always been very hyper-aware of my own emotions, even when I was young. People weren't really cruel. In fact, most people were trying to be kind, but there was always something different in the way that they looked at me. Sometimes people treated me like I was fragile. Sometimes they didn't know what to say. A lot of times people pitied me. And as a child, I couldn't really put a name to that feeling. I just knew that I felt separate. I think that feeling is a part of the reason I became so shy when I was younger. Oftentimes, I found myself, reading books to fantasize. I don't know how many people out there have read the book Wonder or Out of My Mind or El Defo, but those books meant everything to me when I was growing up. They gave me a comfort because those people were different. Especially in this book called El Defo, which was about a young girl who loses her hearing and starts to feel like she's living in a different world than everyone else, when like she's in a bubble where she can see people, but she can't fully reach them. I read that graphic novel so many times that I actually stole it from my elementary school library. It's on my bookshelf right now. But there was something about reading stories where the main character felt separated from everyone else that kind of resonated with me. She could see everyone else around her, but she feels disconnected from them. And I've always pictured myself as her, as the kid who ironically stands out but feels so isolated and unseen. However, in my childhood, one of the most things that I am grateful for is the way my parents treated me. I cannot think of a single time that my dad ever baby talked with me. He just refused to do it. My parents made the decision when I was born to never treat me differently or pity me because of my ichthyosis. I remember so many times being shy or being quiet or not wanting to go somewhere or do something or do certain social interactions, and my parents just could not care less. I'd be forced to go out there. I'd be forced to almost grow and just suck it up. And when I was adult, I wasn't going to be able to have anyone to hold my hand all the time. I was going to have to grow up and live life. And I'm really grateful for that because I think a lot of parents in their situation instinctively would have felt the need to isolate their child. I think that a parent wants to protect their child and doesn't want to see them get hurt. However, it's going to happen, and that's kind of the hard truth. It's better to teach them to be confident in themselves. Although, the confidence thing has to come from yourself. I had to work on myself personally every day for that. But I'm glad that even though it wasn't fun when I was young, I eventually had to experience those things. So I wasn't met with shock when I was older and I didn't feel so isolated. I also think that's why I have the friends that I have now and the social skills that I have now, because I was forced to be in social situations even when I was uncomfortable when I was young. It allowed me to grow and understand who I wanted to be. Then, when I became more sure of myself, the whispers and stares didn't hurt as much. It's like if someone came up to you in the street and said, "I hate your blue hair, it's so ugly." Well, one thing, you don't know me, and two, I don't have blue hair, so I don't know what you've been smoking, but I think you're wrong. The same thing applies to your self-worth and your skin. If someone tells you you're ugly, but you truly believe that you're beautiful, then yeah, the comment might be mean, but if I'm confident in myself, then their comment doesn't really make sense. However, my parents also pushed me almost over-enthusiastically to lean into the things that I was good at. I've been blessed with many passions in my life, and my parents were always pushing me to show them off because that can get you far. I was recently visiting a friend who had ichthyosis, and we were walking and talking, and I kind of had a mini revelation. At first we were talking, and I was kind of getting annoyed because he just kept talking about our skin and our shared experiences. And in my head I was like, dude, there's so much more to talk about. Aren't you gonna ask me where I got my cute boots or something? But he just kept talking about our skin. And then I kind of came to this realization that I've luckily become so desensitized to my own ichthyosis in a sort of way. I have a brother who has the same skin condition as me, and I've always had first to be a part of my life. So I've always seen other people with ichthyosis. However, my friend who I was with only knew about 3 people in real life who had ichthyosis. And it was kind of created this new real sense of gratitude because a lot of people cannot say the same. It also gave me a new perspective on the relationship I have with my brother. My brother and I, Miles, get this all the time. I think to onlookers, they probably think that we probably just sit around and talk about our skin and stuff, but obviously, as we know, that is not true as siblings. I used to kind of scoff at people who thought that our relationship was just extra special because we both have ichthyosis. But honestly, they are kind of right, and I really hate to admit this, but our relationship is different than other siblings. I don't think that I would be the person that I am today or have the security in myself that I have today without having a brother with the same condition. It's just always kind of nice that you know that you can look your worst and your skin can be looking really gross that day and really dry and unimaginable, and you're gonna be made fun of by your sibling and not be pitied for it. It's almost like he's looking at you raw, if that makes sense. I like to pride myself in looking as presentable as possible when I go out and about, but sometimes even in my own house. But if I do have a flare-up or something, it's not evading his remarks. And that's kind of beautiful in a way, because it's just like any other regular sibling relationship. And just because we have ichthyosis doesn't mean that him and I get a pass, and I think that's really beautiful. And also, first conferences have always been a part of my life. I think since I was about 8 months old, I don't know if that's true, I've been going to biannual first conferences, along with many other conferences here and there, and I've always just been a part of the first community. And it's really nice to talk with other people who get you, because I love my friends from home very, very, very much, but you can't always talk about the same skin issues in the same way. Like, they have pimples, that's one thing, but I'm putting on lotion for 2 hours every day, so it's pretty different. However, even within the ichthyosis community, I felt like I struggled to find someone that I could look up to. There are so many inspiring people in this community, but I never really saw myself in anyone. I think it's really cool how so many people are proud of their skin and how it's such a huge part of who they are, but I kind of just wanted to slip away. I think a lot of people assume that when people have disabilities that we're automatically pushed into being advocates for ourselves and educating everyone around us. And I really didn't want that burden. I just want to live my life. I don't want ichthyosis to be something that I have to promote every day or make it my duty to constantly bring awareness to it. I just want it to be something that I have. So in that way, I kind of had to create my own path and decide to be the person that I wanted to see. I think a really big reason that I was able to do that was because I was never led to believe that I was incapable. My parents never treated me like I was incapable. My brother never treated me like I was incapable. So it really never occurred to me that I was supposed to see myself that way either. Like I said before, people are going to treat you differently. It's just something that you cannot evade. And sometimes these moments are going to stick with you, and they're going to have a really big imprint on your life. But I want to show you what that actually looked like. I would say probably the worst part of my life was entering 6th grade. Now, this was the first year of middle school, and it was my elementary school and 3 other elementary schools combining together into one middle school. I thought that if I just had a quick makeover before school started, I would see what's coming. I did not see what was coming. There were 3 mistakes that I made when entering middle school. Number 1, having the ugliest haircut imaginable. A few weeks before 6th grade started, after staring myself in the mirror enough and holding my hair up to my chin in the bathroom mirror, I made the decision to cut 10 inches off my hair and donate it. I remember sitting in that salon chair and telling the hairstylist exactly how much I wanted cut off right here, right near my shoulders, and she cut it off right below my earlobes. Do you like it? The hairstylist asked. I love it. It's just 2, the ugliest fashion sense you have ever seen. The worst pattern leggings, pair that with a shirt from Old Navy, and that was what I was rocking with every day in middle school. No wonder nobody talked to me. I wouldn't talk to me. The last mistake that was made before entering 6th grade was a letter. This letter was sent out to all the parents in middle school, telling them about my skin condition and serving as a warning to the students. This was a grave mistake. Because of this letter, I was an attraction. I was stared at and I was pointed at. However, somehow the second outcome was worse, in my opinion: the pity. I can literally imagine it now. Before the first day of school, parents telling their kids, "Be nice to this girl, she probably doesn't have a lot of friends and everyone's gonna make fun of her." And this led to extreme pity that I received. I would get my backpack carried for me every day and special treatment. It was just so isolating. I could never really pinpoint what this feeling was, but I hated the fact that I was being treated different. My school was really keen on making sure that our school was an anti-bullying school. I remember that we had so many presentations and trips to the auditorium talking about anti-bullying and things like that. However, if you tell kids that they can't bully in person, they're going to find another way to do it. And sadly, they did. During 6th grade, I begged my parents to let me get Instagram because so many of my classmates had it. And I was really excited because I began getting a lot of followers pretty quickly on Instagram. However, this is how a lot of the bullying was able to happen to me. My main bullies throughout middle school were boys. I wasn't considered attractive to them. Not only did I have the build of an 11-year-old boy at the time, but of course, my ichthyosis played a factor in my bullying. You see, in middle school, that's when kids start growing up and forming their own opinions and start becoming interested in dating and attraction and all the stuff because, they're in the middle of puberty. And there I was rocking the most insane fit any sixth grade I've ever seen, and the most botched bob and my skin. And this meant that I was ugly to them. For weeks throughout 6th and 7th grade, I would get messages from boys asking me out, and after I sent messages back confused, they would admit that they had been dared to ask me out as a joke. Because the joke was that it would be so embarrassing to date me or consider me attractive. I would also get harassed by boys, even ones who were freshmen in high school while I was still 11 years old in 6th grade. They would at first ask me about my skin and then about my body. They would say how hot it was that my skin was red. They would pressure me into sending pictures of my body, no doubts in hope of sending them to their friends. They would make sexual remarks about my body throughout 6th and 7th grade. And then simultaneously, I'd have boys and girls telling me that I'm ugly. I was told that there was a list of the prettiest boys and girls and that I wasn't on it. I just felt so disgusting. I just wanted to feel beautiful like a normal girl. I didn't want privilege or attention or pity. I just wanted to be like everyone else. And because of the bullying and the pity and exclusion that I felt in middle school, it was safe to say that I was extremely lonely. I struggled very heavily with suicidal thoughts. I would fantasize about what it would be like if I was a different person, or if I was a prettier girl in my grade, or if I just wasn't there at all. And late at night, I would imagine the kind of girl I wished I could be. I'd close my eyes and I'd see this attractive, confident, radiant version of myself who I so desperately wanted to become. I could see myself reaching out to her, trying to get some semblance of who she was and try to internalize it, hoping that maybe someday everyone else would finally see me the way that I wanted to be seen. It was just a horrible, miserable time. And then one night, I remember thinking, I can't do this anymore. I do not deserve this. I do not deserve to be treated that way. I refuse. I will not sit here and sulk and let myself be taken advantage of and bullied and be made to feel ugly and unattractive and unworthy of friendship and love. And that night, I sat up in bed and I made a decision. I was never going to accept treatment like that again. I would work and I will push myself out of the hole that I was buried in because I do not deserve this. I think a lot of people would assume that confidence comes first. Like one day you magically wake up pretty and confident and then start doing things. But for me, it was the opposite. I did things while I was terrified. I did things while I was insecure. I did things while I was awkward. And then confidence came later. If I wanted to be the person that I saw in my head, I was going to have to take action for myself. There was no one around me who I could learn from or look up to or who was like me. There was no one who I could even see myself in. There was only me. And that meant that only I could be the one to refuse and eventually change. You do not have to sit there and take it, guys. I actually went out with this guy in high school for a little while. He was one of my closest friends my senior year of high school. His name was Joey, and he asked me out after we hung out one time, after I told him the story I just told you. He asked me to go out, and this shocked me because this guy was one of my closest friends during my senior year of high school. And I actually had a crush on him for 8 years, finally, before getting over it my senior year. And when he asked me, I was like now? Come on. But I pushed my feelings aside, and I went out with him anyway. And after a little while, I began to feel weird. I just felt like the relationship was off in some way. We were actually in the school play at the time, and while we were waiting backstage for our scene, it was completely silent between us. And then he broke the silence by turning to me and saying, "I think you misinterpreted what I said." What? "I kind of asked you out because I felt bad." I was so shocked. I could not believe that this guy, my friend, who I'd been friends with since elementary school, had done this. This guy who, fun fact, wrote his whole college essay about me and how inspired he was about me, asked me out because he felt bad? I could not believe it. I ran home after rehearsal and called my friends and explained what happened. I wasn't going to sit in my room and cry about it. I was so fueled by rage that the next day I pulled him aside during rehearsal, dragged him out in the hallway, and yelled at him in front of everybody. I won't relay what I said because there's kids here, but I never talked to him again. Moral of the story, 1, you do not need to take the garbage that anyone gives you. Love yourself enough to stand up for yourself. And number 2, do not settle for what you think you deserve. As a young woman, I've always struggled with my appearance. I think women, especially young women like myself, already get enough scrutiny about our looks and how we present ourselves to other people. But I think it is especially hard when you have a physical difference because you're often deemed less attractive by others. And I think sadly in my experience, if a guy has a condition compared to a girl if a girl has a condition, some aspects of the experience can be different. A guy may be considered unattractive, but people will say, yeah, but he's funny, or he's charismatic, or he's smart, or he has a good job. However, a woman can be all that and more, and sometimes none of that matters if she's not attractive. And for a really long time, all I wanted to be was pretty. I mean, still now, I'm striving to be a more attractive person every day, but I've grown to, consider myself attractive. Thank you. I've just always felt like my skin got in the way of that, like my true, beautiful self was just sitting right underneath the surface. When I dream, I still have ichthyosis. It doesn't go away, just no one cares. I never dreamed of having different skin. I never imagined myself magically cured. In every version of that future, I still looked like me. What I really wanted was freedom from my mindset. I wanted the freedom to exist without feeling like my skin was the first thing people saw when they looked at me. But eventually, I realized that no one was going to just hand that freedom to me. I had to take it for myself. I had to stop treating my skin like it was this giant roadblock standing in front of me and the person that I wanted to become. Because at the end of the day, ichthyosis can make things harder. It can make things unfair, it can make things frustrating, but it does not get to decide who you become. I do. You do. Now, of course, after dealing with all that, I was pretty anxious to start college. This time, I would know absolutely no one. I decided that I just wanted to go a little farther from the town in Jersey I was living in, so I chose a college that would be 12 hours away. I would be completely alone. I wasn't even going to have a roommate because I had a single. As moving day got closer, I would always get these flashes from my childhood. I would think about the shy kid feeling isolated and feeling different, and I'd start getting really anxious. Then I had to tell myself, no, you're not going to sit in your dorm room and be nervous. You're not going to hide. You're not going to spend your entire freshman year waiting for other people to come up and talk to you. If I wanted to live the college experience that I was imagining for myself, I was going to have to create it. I was going to have to put myself out there. And honestly, it was safe to say that this year has been one of the craziest years of my life. And I don't just mean being interviewed by People magazine or being on TLC or growing my TikTok following or moving away from home or even starting college. I mean, yeah, that's been incredible, but it's kind of the smaller things that hold a deeper part of my heart. Okay, I'm going to sell myself out for a little bit, but, like getting Baco drunk the day before Thanksgiving after I promised to cook mac and cheese for my family, a very, very difficult mac and cheese recipe. Or doing a photo shoot with my friends after slaving away for hours over a dress I designed for weeks. Or going to house parties and talking with people around this huge campfire in the back and trying to run away from cops who are trying to separate the party. Or going to vintage markets on a nice warm Sunday morning in a cute outfit that I had chosen. These moments are all moments that I hold very deeply to my heart, and I've always imagined in my head to be this really cool girl who got to do all these cool things, but I always thought that my skin would inhibit me from achieving this dream in my head. If I wanted to see this vision, I went out and I got it. I talked to people, I invited people out. Although it literally felt like ripping eyelashes out one by one, I had to force myself if I wanted to become this girl that I had imagined in my head for myself. Especially because I go to an art school. I genuinely love being surrounded by passionate people who care so deeply about what they do. Everyone is trying to create something. Everyone has a goal. Everyone's working towards something. They have dreams that they're chasing. Now, do I have time to rest? No. I am quite literally running on 2 Monster energy drinks and an apple I stole from the dining hall. But it has been amazing. I have met some of the kindest people in my entire life. I'm rooming with one of my best girlfriends that I met this year, that I met in my first class in college. I think that when you stop trying so hard to be what everyone wants you to be, people can feel that. They can see the energy and they give it right back to you. You need to have trust in yourself and confidence. And being able to fully express myself in a creative college has been incredible. I remember going to my first classes that week during my first week of school and thinking, surely it's an 8 a.m. class and it's going to be full of people in sweatpants who would just roll out of bed. Apparently not. Apparently, when you go to art school, everyone wakes up at 5 a.m. to do the 30-step makeup routine and style their hair and show up dressed to the nines at 8 a.m. in the morning. So I really had to step up my game in the makeup and fashion department, which honestly was great. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was in an environment where self-expression was encouraged. It helped me to find ways to present myself that made me feel confident and happy. And I think that is so important. Whether it's fashion or art or music or writing or literally anything else, finding an outlet that makes you feel confident in yourself as a person is such a powerful thing because that confidence radiates. People can feel it. It is also a reminder that you are so much more than your ichthyosis. Your identity does not have to revolve around your skin. The things that you create and the people that you care about and the goals that you're chasing and the life that you're building for yourself, you can imagine that for yourself because your skin didn't choose that path for you. You did. And as my speech is coming to a close, I'd like to just leave you all with a few final thoughts. To the parents and the families of people with ichthyosis, please do not doubt your child. Do not shelter them. Do not hide them. Do not pity them. I know it is scary. It is scary to think about the things that could happen in the world. And I'm not saying that bad things will not happen, because sometimes they will. But your child needs to be strong enough to stand on their own 2 feet and be confident in themselves to go out into the world and become the person that they want to be. They cannot be that person if they are secluded and fenced in their entire life. And to everyone else out there, you do not have to be scared. Your skin is not who you are. The person that you thought of in the beginning of this speech, that can be you. That is you. It is going to be hard. There are going to be setbacks. But there are so many incredible things in front of you. No one has lived your life, therefore no one can do the things that you want and are destined to do. There are so many people waiting to meet you, so many people who want to see your talents and what you can create, so many people who want to hear your jokes and listen to your stories and see your smile. So I want you to think of the person that you thought of in the beginning of the speech, that person that you are becoming, that strong, pretty, kind, confident version of yourself that you want to be. That can be you. How do you get there? How do you become them? Run towards them. Do not look behind you. Do not look side to side. There is nothing for you there. Keep moving forward. Be excited for your future. Be excited for the person you are going to grow into. And with that, I leave you with one final question. Who are you becoming? Thank you.